I love the little technical difficulties. Yo,
Thank you for having me.
yes, welcome to the PMS podcast, part of my sarcasm podcast, the show where my comments are often sarcastic and my opinion always matters. Today I have one. She will say that she's the host, but I call her the co-host of the Black Royalty podcast. The lovely, the beautiful B, Nikki, whatever you want to call her. Chasing Gabe is her title or her handle on
Thanks,
Instagram. Thank you for being on my show. How are you?
I am wonderful.
That's good to hear. Um, Again, this is week number 2. This is probably the most consistent I've been with my podcast since I've had my podcast, and it's like what 2 years that I've had my podcast now. So yeah, this is episode number 35. So that's a big accomplishment for me. So I'm happy about that. But just a quick recap. Last episode, we were talking about were you raised off of love or survival. Now that episode was pretty interesting because you find out things about different people just by asking them questions, and then you'll get all the answers that you need to get from them based off of the information that they give you. So I found that it was interesting because I didn't know certain things about you. I didn't know certain things about me. That's weird. Um, it was just really cool, honestly, to tell you the truth. Uh, I don't know why my phone is tripping like that.
I
No,
didn't hear you. Like it went out. So,
oh,
but
okay. All I was saying is that it was really cool to find out new stuff about friends and find out new things about yourself, especially when it's coming to relationships, because that's all we want to do is be able to have better relationships with each other. Everybody wants to be loved, so like knowing whether or not you were raised off of love or survival is something that isn't talked about enough that should be talked about more. Would you agree?
I agree.
Awesome. So we talk about a lot about relationships on the show, both past and present. Today, I want to talk about potential and future partners. What are some mandatory things that your partner must have? I'm speaking
He has
directly
to
to
be
you. Directly to you,
me.
B. Yes.
So he has to be able to communicate.
Okay.
And be vulnerable. I
Mm,
feel he has to respect the trust. I have to have trust, honesty, and I want to know what his commitment level is.
mm. What if any of those are lacking? Does that make or break your mind about what his potential is for dating
The
you?
dishonesty is definitely a deal breaker because if I feel like if you lie to me even about the smallest thing, what else will you lie about?
Mm, yeah.
So that's like one of my major ones, and he doesn't respect my feelings or my boundaries.
Mm, that's also good. So like, do you have like a set number of boundaries that you have, or is that
Mm,
like, or do you find out more about your boundaries for the person that you're dating at that time?
with that person, yeah.
Mm,
Because if I've explained like this bothers me and you keep doing it, then I feel like
you don't
then
get
you don't
respected.
respect my
Yeah,
feelings.
yeah, yeah. That's interesting. I feel like I feel like for the most part my boundaries are just about the same. You know, Regardless who I date at that particular time, I feel like my boundaries are always the same. You know, we're not going to be disrespecting each other or
Right.
talking in a derogatory manner to each other. Um, like not doing things intentionally to hurt the other person, whether it be with
Exactly.
words or whatever. Like, because sometimes a lot of things that we say, we don't know how another person's going to take it. So we have to be mindful, not necessarily mindful to the point to where we're walking on eggshells around our partner, but the fact that like
Right.
if I say something and you don't feel if you feel a certain type of way about how I said it, then I need you to address it to me so that I can, not speak that way to you anymore. So I think that's
Right.
just
Because some
basic
people get on
respect.
the defense too. Like, okay, it's my feelings, so why are you offended about how I feel?
Yeah.
Like, so if you don't respect that, then I don't know if they'll be able to respect anything else in that relationship.
That's definitely facts. Um, do you have you had a hard time with respecting your past relationships?
Have I had what now?
Have you had a hard time dealing with like relate what was the word that you used? Boundaries or respect in your past relationships?
Not so much. It's just that like I always feel like if if I express something to you like um how I feel about a certain situation,
Okay.
and
So
you
first
take
of
it
all, you're
as
not
those are
being
your feelings,
specific. Okay, we got it.
those are your feelings,
Okay.
and that's how you feel, and then
Mm,
you just kind of just walk away. Then I feel like you don't respect how I feel,
okay.
and so it's just something that I know that I can't do it because I'm gonna respect his feelings, his boundaries. If he tells me a certain thing, then I'm gonna try to change that. So
Right. Um, what are some of your deal breakers?
I can't hardly hear you today. I don't
I
know why.
said, what are some of your deal breakers?
Oh, I said that.
I mean, oh, so you just skipping questions now?
I said being dishonest. That's a major one. Just
Mm-hmm.
lying to me for no reason, and uh, obviously being abusive. That could be physically, emotionally,
Yeah.
and not respecting my boundaries.
Interesting. Um,
Oh, and just being drunk for no damn reason.
so just drinking a drink,
But
you don't like that?
just drinking to drink. Just wake up in the water that you want to drink.
You know
It's
what? I'm on a
just
fifth
drunk.
early in the morning. It's not even breakfast
Just
yet, but I'm gonna have a fifth of
drunk.
whatever, just junk.
I mean, just
No reason. Is daily hygiene a big turn on or turn off for you?
that's a turn off.
It's a turn off. So bad hygiene is
I
a turn
love a
off.
man who smells good.
I mean, you just look like you smell good naturally. Like you
I
got this.
always smell good.
Okay, whatever. I didn't need you to have like a big head or whatever, but yeah, whatever. I guess. Sure.
What now?
Can you can you hear me? All right.
Barely. I don't know if everybody else can hear you, but I'm having a hard
Can
time.
y'all hear me on the live? Comment in the comments, please, if you can hear me or not.
It's kind of low. I turned it all the way up too, so
What about now? Is that better?
a little bit.
A little bit better. All right. So we're gonna keep going.
That's better.
That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I figured out what it was. Anyways, um, so my deal breakers, I would say I'm a pretty forgiving person, you know, and I can
See the
just,
comment?
huh?
It says the volume is low and there's an echo after I talk.
Oh, that's not cool. Sounds like it's on your end, Brandy. Anyways, I feel like my deal breakers, I can forgive just about anything, and I can handle just about anything. But what I won't tolerate is like being lied to, because like once you tell one little lie or whatever the case is, then it makes people like not trust anything you ever said. So it's like it's it's a big deal even if it's something small, you know?
Right.
And I feel like if you respect me, you wouldn't lie to me. Now granted there's like these things that people say, "Oh, there's these little white lies that it should be okay to tell like um does this just make me look fat or do like am I gaining weight type thing like babe no you look great." That's not what I asked you. Like those are certain type of things that like there's a little gray area to, but like you shouldn't be lying about basic stuff, you know? Like cuz hurt me with the truth but don't kill me with a lie, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Right.
I feel like yeah, being lied to is like my biggest deal breaker. I won't do that. Like I don't care if she has kids. No. If she has like 17 kids with 10 different baby daddies, whoa.
That might be a deal
Whoa.
breaker.
She got a whole football team and a basketball team. Like,
Yeah,
yo.
that's definitely one of mine. Like if you have four baby mamas and four kids, and one of them is like 2 months old, I can't do it.
Yo, Papa was a
Like
Rolling
you need to be taking
Stone.
care of their newborn. So
Ah, man. I think
yeah.
I think another deal breaker of mine, like once we start getting to know each other, and like you know things, or and I share things about you, and I'm very transparent, and you start using those things against me
Mhm.
to like boost you up, or to like get something that you want from me. I
Right.
feel that like I don't like to be manipulated. Yeah, I think that's a good word. I don't like to be manipulated. If you're manipulating me, yeah, it's not gonna work. It's definitely not gonna work. Cause I could be the like the most easygoing dude you ever met, but then like if you start manipulate, I can't even say the word now, manipulating me,
Manipulate.
then it's like I feel like it's a form of lying, you know. And I already told you how I feel about lying, so yeah, there's that.
Right.
Um, would you date someone with intent to marry if you yourself weren't financially stable?
I shouldn't be dating at all if I wasn't financially stable. I don't think you should take risks with your finances,
Mm-hmm.
like, because anything could happen. Because, like, especially like right now too, like gas is high.
What?
So if you're trying to like bring this person if you're trying to pursue this person, like, and you're not ready for that, anything could happen. Like, how
Yeah,
is she or he supposed to trust in that?
that's
You know,
crazy. Cause like you speaking about gas prices, like I just spent $93 on gas last
mine
week.
is like 85. That's what it was last week, but I don't know. I didn't
Ninety
even check the
three
gas price.
dollars, and
But like even gas is high, rent is high, the
I'm
housing
about to
market
just
is
start
like
putting water in my gas
crazy.
tank.
So it's just like you can't like take that risk.
Yeah,
You have to kind of just wait until you're ready. I mean, you have to be financially stable
yeah.
before you're trying to date. Take
Ha-
care of that.
have you ever dated somebody who wasn't financially stable?
Not to my knowledge. I mean,
I think I think honestly, I think we've all dated somebody who wasn't financially stable, but we just didn't know about
I
it.
mean, right. I mean, because I don't know. I don't think I asked that. I'm like, what your finances look like. I don't
But
really
I
think I
don't
just
think that's
ask.
a question that you would ask. I think that
I mean, you can like tell.
no, because there's some people out there that put up a good front. There's been people who put out a good front for years, and their partner didn't know about it until they were actually married and living together.
That's scary. See, that's why I say
Yeah,
like you have to be financially stable.
like
You
people,
shouldn't be
no
dating if you're
no
not.
shade, no shade to people who do it, but like people who have all their stuff at got all their stuff from like rent a center, or like
Oh,
they're renting exotic cars or whatever, and then
oh my
you know
goodness,
every time they pick
that's
you up, yeah, that's a little bit too much. That's a big form of lying. And again,
that's a big lie.
yeah, we've already talked about how we feel about lying on this show, you know. But yeah, I feel like at certain points in time, I even feel like I was not financially stable, you know. And I'm just gonna be transparent and fully honest here. It's just like you don't know how necessarily financial stable enough you have to be to maintain certain relationships until you're in that relationship. You know, um, a major thing about being consistent is if you're not financially stable, it's gonna show later on. It's gonna
Exactly.
like it's you're gonna tell on yourself by like not being financially stable if you're trying to
Right.
remain consistent. Because you know, I got caught up not being. I thought I was financially stable until I was trying to do all this other stuff and like plan dates and do this and whoop 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 whoop, and then thinking all my
Trying to impress her.
bills is paid, and then come to find out, oh, my card declined. You know, like that's embarrassing. That's like super embarrassing. Like if you ever been
Really.
or experienced something like that, I don't recommend it. I hope it never happens to anybody. But like, please, people, when you out here trying to impress a pretty woman or whatever, or you trying to impress that handsome man or whatever, however you flow, like live inside your means. live inside your own budget because
Right.
eventually the truth will come to light, and then when it comes to light,
I'm sure.
it's not gonna be pretty.
So Chuck said when two come together, they should be stable separately to start. Exactly.
Yes, yes, yes. Independently stable, financially stable, but when you come together as a union, that's another discussion that will be tabled later in you guys' journey. Um, where did I leave off? Would you say that the physical place that you meet your partner matters? Like the facility in
I
which
say
you
no.
meet your partner?
I say no because you can meet somebody online and they could be super crazy, but you can meet
Mm-hmm.
somebody, you can meet the love of your love of your life at the gas station. So you just never know like
I imagine you
where
smiling
they
like
are.
you met the love of your life at a gas station
I
while
I
you
did
was
not,
pumping
but
this $6 gas a gallon gas. Like that's crazy.
no, I have not. But yeah,
Mm.
I don't think it matters. I think sometimes it's just time and place.
Mm-hmm. Cause I know the old folk, or I want to say old folk. I'll say my people, my family would tell me stuff like, "Well, your wife isn't out there in the club. You know exactly where she at. She in the church." Like, and I'd be like, "Well, that's not fair to say because like everybody who's in the church isn't saved or isn't living right.
That's
You
a
know,
whole different topic.
that's a whole different topic. Yeah, but it's on topic because like it's a physical place where you meet your partner. You know what I'm saying? Like just because you meet them in a church doesn't mean that they're right for you.
That's
You know.
right for you.
So like I would agree to a certain extent that it does matter, but at the same time it doesn't matter because love can
I
happen
don't think it
anywhere.
matters. I mean, it's no right or wrong answer for that because you just
Yeah.
don't never know
I mean,
when you're gonna meet that person.
I
You could
found
just
some
be
pretty
walking
dope
down the street.
people
You could
on
be at
like
the gym and or just walking into the gym and they're going to the grocery store and then you cross paths. It doesn't matter. I mean, if it shows up, it shows up.
first of all, I think you'd be the type that go to the gym and then go home, shower, and then go to the grocery store. You just give off that vibe that you would do that.
Kind of. Sometimes I do.
Oh man. Hey, thank you for joining. For those who are just joining, we're talking about meeting your future partner. Um, would you say hold on,
So at
where
the
am I?
club, I'm saying like at the club, if you meet that person in the club, you could be at the club for a birthday party
Mm,
and that person's there. You just don't never know. So
Honestly,
if you're not,
I met my ex-wife at a club.
but that's your ex-wife. So
Yeah, like I mean, she's still one of my good friends today. One of my good best friends actually. She used to be a co-host of this show. Like we're still great friends today. Like I
that's
met her in a club. I mean, it didn't work out because I wasn't very faithful, and I thought she was doing other things. But that's not this episode. We're not talking about this episode.
right.
And if you go
That's
back and listen to my previous episodes, this is episode number 35. But if you decided to go back and listen to some of my old episodes, like you'd see how our relationship is, and I'm very transparent. So I talked about it. It is what it is. Um, Does meeting your partner in church automatically make them husband or wife material?
heck no.
She said, heck no.
Heck no. That's a whole other topic. We
Mm.
can't even cover that right now.
I mean, we can cover it a little bit because it's the next question.
Just because they in church don't mean anything.
That's facts. That's facts. Um, have you ever dated people who was in the same church that you went to? If you're going to church,
Not at the same church, but like okay, they were active in church, but
let me guess, they was a musician.
they were they were never mind.
They were what?
Nothing. They
So it's
were
okay for
wonderful
me to be
people.
transparent on here, but you're not gonna be transparent.
They were they were not good people.
They were not good people. What? What do you mean? Explain, please. Go into detail. without telling who the person is?
Um, that boundaries thing.
There are
So
some
yeah,
hellraisers in church. You're sure enough right
basically.
about that. Some of the some of them be the biggest fakers. Yeah, that's true. I believe like a lot of people put on facades in church.
Sometimes I think, well, comparing, they were the they were the worst relationships that I've ever been.
I don't mean to laugh at your relationships that didn't work, but like wow, that's kind of
But
messed up.
yeah, they were the worst ones. It doesn't matter if you go to church
Is that your
or you
best
find
friend that
that
just
person
hopped
in
up on
church.
here? Hey J
What?
Lovely.
What?
Is that your best friend that just hopped up on here?
Yeah, that's Jasmine. Hey, Jasmine.
Look at her face light up when she saw her best friend.
That's my girl. Yeah.
But not like I think like well me being raised in the church, I I mean my dad was a pastor, so like but like I can see some of the stuff that happened with him and my mom in their relationship and be like, well, I don't hold that against everybody who's in the church and dating or whatever the case
I
is,
mean, I
you
don't
know.
hold it against them.
I don't hold it against anybody cuz
I just know I don't think that my person is in the church.
mm, mm, yes, it is a bit of an echo
See,
for
there's an
other
echo.
people.
See, everybody, I can hear it too.
Yeah, I can't, but you know, that's cuz I have
That's
the
because you
equipment
have
here.
on those, but
Yeah,
I can definitely hear it.
that's probably the case. Um is that a little bit better?
Yeah,
Yes.
much better.
Much better.
No,
All right, cool.
yeah,
Anyways,
it's better.
second time we fixing technical difficulties on the show, and no, I am not editing this part out of the show. Anyways, but no, I don't feel like people who are in the church are necessarily quote unquote wifey material or husband material, but I don't also think that they're not. I think that's I think that's a person question, a case by case basis, you know? Like who's to say like we can't overgeneralize that, you know, just because you meet one person in the church and it didn't work doesn't mean that everybody you meet in the church is going to be the same way. Just like I don't feel
I mean,
that
I know
just
that,
like I
but
feel like if you meet somebody at the club, like that doesn't mean that they are or are not wifey or husband material. You know, it's different strokes each and every person you run into. It just takes time to get to know that person, I guess,
right.
and it'll show for itself. Does a person's standards stop, halt, or even speed up the possibility of finding their potential mate?
I believe that some people can have this whole list of these standards that they have that can hinder them from meeting their potential partner because they have this whole list that they have to have. They have to be this tall. They have to be this weight. They have to make this much money. And I think that um, it could really hurt you trying to meet your partner. I think that if you meet somebody and he checks off all the boxes, but he's not 6'5", or or she's not this this weight, or she doesn't look like this, then you kind of like you you hurt yourself in that
Mm,
trying to find that person. I think that you kind of hold yourself back, but it's okay. It's okay to have your preferences,
it,
and everybody has preferences.
I agree with exactly what Nikisa said. She says sometimes unrealistic standards or expectations that aren't even their own standards for themselves matters. Like if you're setting standards based on what you've seen on Instagram or Facebook or social media in general, if those are your standards
Or reality TV.
or reality TV or what you see in movies and whatever, it's cool. It's great. Sure, but it's not realistic.
Right.
Let's just start there. It's not realistic. So like if you're setting oh I want him to make X amount of money. I want him to drive such and such car. Like those things are like out of your control. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you
Like,
you
do you?
huh?
It's like you have all these standards, but
But do
is
you
that
have
who
those?
you
But can you
right?
provide the things that you're requiring him
Exactly.
to
You're
provide?
wanting.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I watch a lot of stuff on social media, and like the Shade Room and Black Love Page. Those are like some of my favorite stuff to watch. And they have all these different
Mm-hmm.
people on here talking about, well, I want him to do this and blah 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 blah. But like, what are you bringing to the table specifically? I hate to get to that topic and like ask women what they bring to the table, because like that's such a generic type of a question. It's like such so vague, but like a lot of people think that what you see physically is what they bring to the table. You know,
Right.
she
So
said,
I
"Don't
always
say
say like,
800 plus credit score, car, house, and be living with your mama catching the bus. You looking for a sugar daddy? So, go join the websites apps for it, or get it in the rooms or for them and see which one of them." I mean, yeah, I mean that can work too, but at the same time, I feel like people who aren't necessarily being realistic and necessarily meeting the same standards that they're setting for other people to reach is definitely unrealistic. Definitely unrealistic. Um, I I don't know if I necessarily have uh I have standards, but I don't necessarily set expectations. You know, because like if I set, I feel like if me myself, if I set expectations, then I'm expecting someone to fail. You know, because as
mm,
soon as I say, well, I'm expecting you to do this or expecting you to meet me here or whatever the case is. I mean, there could be traffic or anything that happens throughout the day. Like we were supposed to start today at 6 o'clock. You know, I didn't factor in the fact that my uncle was going to come in here and, I had to wait. So I like, that would be an expectation that, if I say we're going to start at 6 o'clock, we're going to start at 6 o'clock. Like, it's unrealistic because
right.
stuff happens. So like I feel like me personally, this doesn't have to work for everybody, but it works for me. Like me setting expectations on my partner is me expecting something to go wrong. How do you feel
Right.
about that?
I mean, I you. I mean, I have standards. I have standards, and I have my preferences.
Maybe that
Um,
can be another podcast topic. What's the difference
yeah. I mean,
between
it's a lot,
expectations and standards?
but I I feel like you really do have to be attracted to that person. You have to be like, don't want to wake up next to this person.
I mean, I think that's the first thing right off the bat. Right off the bat, like if you're
Mhm.
not physically
Like you,
attracted to that person,
then you're not gonna really
it's
even
not gonna
respond.
really go too far, you know.
Right.
And and I feel like a lot of men check a lot of boxes or a lot of standards that women have, but because they don't meet that first physical attraction, it doesn't go anywhere. Because all those other stuff doesn't matter because he doesn't first fit her standard of
Hmm.
physical attraction. I mean, and that's cool. I mean, everybody isn't meant for everybody. If that was the case,
Exactly.
then we would have been booed up a long time ago and nobody would be single. Granted,
This is
there's like 7.5 billion people in the world, and the vast majority of them are women. So like if you go by those numbers, then there's not going to be one particular person for everyone. But hey, that's
true.
probably for a different topic.
Yeah.
I like it. Um, should a person settle if they feel they can find something better?
They're not really settling. If they feel like they can find better, then they go find better. They're not settling.
But does that guarantee you that you will find better?
You won't. I mean, you can, you
What?
might.
Wait,
But what
what?
is better? Like they're better is they're better. Like okay, is that person better than the last person?
I I think that's I think I purposely asked it because it's meant to be a trick question.
You shouldn't ever settle though. Like
Yes, you should not settle. However,
you're. some people do, and then they find out like, you know, even that person that you settled for is still might treat you the same way that the person, this the other person.
It's
You know,
it's it's the
you
same
settled and
thing.
then you
It's the same thing as saying like the grass is greener on the other side. Like,
mm,
like you don't know. You can say that there's better out there, and I'm not saying that the person you're with is the best. I'm not saying that, you know. I think sometimes because of social media and things of that nature and how we see things in movies and fairy tale endings and all this other stuff, that we have this perception that everything's supposed to go just that way. But realistically, you have to fight for certain things, you know? There's certain things worth fighting for. It's not about settling, even though I phrased it in that question that way. It's not about settling. It's about fighting for what you want and the person that you're willing to spend the rest of your life with, you know? And if you're not fighting for that person, then, and that person is not fighting for you, then it's just about, finding someone who will be willing to fight you. Or not fight you, but fight for you.
fight for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like sometimes I learn from my own mistakes and I learn from like the situations of like the relationships with my friends, what they're dealing with. I'm not going to put their information out there like that though, but it's like I see that and it's just like I don't want it to happen to me, but I want to take what's happening to them and apply it so that way when I run or if I ever run into a situation like that, that I'm equipped to deal with it, you know? Like I feel like I'm already equipped to deal with a lot and I feel like I do deal with a lot, but I haven't necessarily found a person worth, not necessarily worth, but like who is also willing to do that for me in my relationship. You know? Does that make sense? Fight for
So
your
you haven't
relationship
found a
things.
person that's willing to
Yeah.
reciprocate that.
Yes. So I like that you bring that word up. Um, would you say that reciprocity or reciprocity or whatever, however you want to pronounce it, do you feel like that the lack of or having that it could be a possible deal breaker?
If they're not showing me the same thing, then I think I'm kind of just wasting my time.
Mm,
Like if I'm showing you all of this, if I'm open, if I'm vulnerable, and you're just sitting back chilling, what are we doing?
mm. I wouldn't necessarily agree, and I like that you said that, and like I seen myself doing that in relationships, right? But at the same time, I know that the energy that I bring, not a lot of people can bring that same type of energy.
But if you're giving, 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 and you're getting nothing in return, then I just feel like you're just wasting your time.
I don't I don't
You're not
always
getting that.
I don't always
You're
feel
just
like
there.
it's
You're
I don't always feel like it's because in the relationships that I get in, I don't look at it as I give one thing and I expect to receive something back. You know, like if you show me a little bit of something, I can work with it. Because I know that
but what if they're not showing you anything like
that's not
at
what the
all?
question
Maybe
is.
they
That's not
say
what the
maybe
question
they
is.
say I love you
That's not what the question
once
is.
a week or something like that, but that's it. That's all you're getting.
That's
Like
not what the question
love
was
isn't
though.
enough. You
That's
have to
not what the
show that.
question was though, B.
I know, but I'm saying like if you're not show that's reciprocity. If you're not showing that person that that same feeling, that same energy, then I think you're just well. I know for me,
I
you're
I
different.
personally I
I know for
personally
me that
I personally don't agree with that because like if that were the case it would be a tit for tat type of relationship.
it's not so.
How? So like if if I tell you I love you every single day and like your response like and I mean it every single day like you wake up, "Ooh, girl, I love you." And you're like, "I love you." Like you say it back in response, but it's not the same type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that's the difference. That's not necessarily reciprocity. You know what I'm saying? But like if I know that you're a person who doesn't necessarily open up that same way, But yet
Mm-hmm.
when you do open up, it means that much more. I can take that and it means a lot more to me than somebody who says it all the time. Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes sense, but match energy.
Cuz cuz honestly, personally, I don't think there's too many people out there who can match my energy. Now there's a lot of people who probably could. I've probably met a lot of people who could match my energy. But like the difference is that either I wanted them more than they wanted me, or they wanted me more than I wanted them. You know, we weren't equally yoked.
How does that work though?
It doesn't.
Like,
It doesn't.
it,
How does that work? It doesn't.
you could want somebody and you feel like they wanted you too, but then it's just that you're not getting that feeling like I'm giving this, but you're giving me
E-
nothing at all.
exactly what she said. A giver's heart, no matter how strong, will always hope for reciprocity, right? It hopes for it, but it doesn't necessarily need to have it back. You know, like a giver is going to give. That's why they talk so much about the love languages. You know, it's not necessarily about like, because me, I'm a giver. Me, I love quality time. I feel like I exude all five when it's the right person. I feel like everybody should exude all five love languages when they're in a relationship with their partner, right? But there's some that stick out more than others. And me
Right.
particularly, it's like I know I'm a giver. I don't mind doing stuff. If it makes my woman like less stressed and doesn't have to worry about other things, I don't mind doing it. I'll go broke first before I have her, worrying about some other stuff. Cause like me, I know that as long as my bills are paid, I don't really care. Cause my responsibilities are taken care of. But if she needs help with this, that, and the other thing, I don't mind doing that because I'm a giver. I don't. I'm one of my love languages when it comes to you showing me love. Gifts is not one of my things. I don't need gifts to know that you love me. You know,
Mm.
I want to be loved through like quality time, physical touch. Like I love when my woman touches me. Like woof, I love that. Or just like words of encouragement. Like
Affirmation.
words of affirmation. Like encourage me. Like let me know that you're there for me. Like, and it's not the same thing. It's not like if I give you this a gift and I spend all this money or whatever. If you're just telling me how much you appreciate me, that's enough. And it's not the same energy, but it's enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're showing some type of emotion, you can't just be like not there, like you're just the wall.
That's
you
that's
know,
why
I could be.
that's why I
I
say
was.
reciprocity matters to a certain extent, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the same type of thing that I'm doing for you that you have to do for me.
Right.
Yeah. It just has to be something.
Like, give me something. Like, don't just give me anything at all. Like, don't give
Facts.
me anything to work with at all.
Facts.
But
Facts. 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 Um but yeah, I feel like I love being the person that that can do for my potential partner. Let her know that, there's things that I'm willing to do for her that she doesn't have to worry about. But when it comes to me, I
mm,
don't need that same type of energy. I just need to know that you got my back if I need you to have my back. Encourage me, uplift me, let me know that you care. Um, just even if you told me like twice already, tell me again. Cause like men need to be reassured just as much as women do, Cause sometimes we get down. Sometimes we just want to. Well, me, I can't speak for anybody else. Sometimes I just want to ball up, in my bed, close the door, and not talk to anybody. But like I put those things aside because I care for other people more so sometimes than I care about myself. And sometimes that's not fair, I guess, but it's how I deal with certain
but
things.
do you shut that person out like completely?
No, 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 no. I'm not that type of person that shuts people out. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, I'm not that
That's
type of person.
interesting.
Hey, Sugarfoot. Ugh. She just hopped up on
Oh,
here. Made me smile a little bit. Made me smile a little bit. Anyways, I don't lost my train of thought. Is
she
it?
threw you off. That's so
is
cute.
it settling if someone compromised their standards for someone who meets, checks, or most of the boxes of what they want in a potential mate?
Oh, I thought we covered that. No.
No, we didn't cover it.
Not we did.
No,
I don't
no.
think it. I don't think it does. I don't think that is compromising your standards at all. Like you like what you like.
Yes, you do like what you like. Um, I also think this is a trick question, because if you compromised some of your own standards for the potential of somebody, like we don't date for potential, you know?
Right.
I see this person as potentially being someone I want to be with for the rest of my life. You don't date for potential because the same way you have potential for them, it can go the other way. They can either that's an expectation, you know? Cuz we talked about expectation not too long ago. Like if you set an expectation, you're expecting that person to fail. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if you're compromising your own standards to either lower or raise them for a certain person, then that's not necessarily being true to yourself. Does that make sense? Would you agree?
Right.
Okay. I I just I really think about this like compromise. Like what does compromise necessarily mean? You know? Like if if Courtney was on, we'd have to get out the definition, you know what I'm saying? Like what does compromise mean, Just to just to have the book definition. But like when you're compromising, it means like you're giving up something. You're giving up yourself. Yes, you're giving something to get something, And like when you do that, there's a piece of you that that you don't necessarily pay attention to. You're giving
Right.
less of yourself to get more of something somebody else. And that void that you're leaving behind is not always filled by what you're receiving from that person, you know? So like I feel like in the question itself, it's meant to trip people up because it creates a dialogue, So like I would say that if you're compromising your standards for someone who meets or checks most of their boxes, then it's like, what boxes did you
What
leave
boxes are you
unchecked?
willing to come?
What
Right.
what boxes did you leave unchecked? Was it the physical attraction? Was it like, how they make you feel or this, that, or the other thing? Does that make sense? Because like
Right.
if you're giving up something for a potential that this, that, or the other thing could happen, and you're compromising that, then that could cause more problems than it can solve, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody doesn't have to agree with me, but the truth is the truth, and I feel like I tell the truth. But that's just my um my view of how I see that question.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the way that you look at it. Because if that were the case, we would all be alike. I don't want to date somebody who's exactly like me
Right.
because I'm with me all the time. Like I think it.
But
Yeah,
there have to be. I mean, not totally opposite of you,
yeah.
but some things in common.
I don't even want somebody that's opposite of me, or the total opposite of me.
I don't want somebody that's total opposite of me, but I want something like we have some things in common. Not everything in common. You ever dated somebody that they're like, I like that
Yeah,
too, and it's like you like everything I like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
You can't like everything I
so
like,
like, okay,
but
so I like that you bring that up. Like, I can like every single thing you like, right? Because if if I'm in a relationship with my partner and she likes these things, I'm gonna at least show interest in the things that she likes because it gives us something to talk about or something
right,
to either disagree or agree on.
right,
Like if I'm not necessarily into fashion, but I know she's into fashion, She can
Mhm.
show me things that she likes, and I can be like, oh, well, that looks cute on you, blah, 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 blah. Well, I think you look good in this, and whatever the case is. Or if I know that she's not into sports, I can bring up something that, like, well, this is what I'm doing outside, and I can explain the sports to her while we're watching sports because it's something that
Mhm.
it's it's not necessarily like what she wants to do or what she likes, but it's because she knows that it's something that I like.
Right.
It makes it mean more, you know. But if we're the same, like we'll just be doing literally the same thing at the same time while we're spending time with each other. And it's not necessarily that we're spending time with each other, it's we're spending time with the thing that we're doing while we're with each other. And that's
Right.
boring.
I love music, so I don't like if somebody is like, oh, I don't like any type of music. I like all types of music, so I like music, going to see live music, all that type of things. But if I was talking to somebody and he was like, I don't like music at all, I don't think that I could like. I mean, it's not like it's a deal breaker, but I would think that I would want him to be like, well, I don't like it, but I can I can go with you to this, you know? 'Cause
Yes, yes. Like, or if they just showed like, if you like, well, if you want to take a listen to this song. This song makes me feel happy when I'm sad or
right,
whatever. Take a listen to this. Blah
right,
blah blah. I like that idea.
right.
I like that.
Because if I'm like listening to something, like say I'm in a relationship and I was listening to this song and I'm like, this made me think of you, and so I send it to you, and then like if you don't say anything back or anything, I'm just gonna be like,
Mm,
well, that was a waste of time.
mm. Okay, so this question may trip some people up. Like, uh, hold on. Show
So
interest and nurture your love of a hobby or what makes you happy slash like. I like that. Yeah,
right, it
yeah,
does.
exactly,
If you
exactly.
show interest in the things that I like, my hobbies or something like that,
Yeah, cause like,
or boost me up. Like I'm
cause
a photographer, so like somebody to say like, you, babe, you got the eye for this. Like
facts.
you're amazing at what you do. You
Like
know, just
like Sugarfoot.
show some type of interest, or because I'm gonna boost you up. If I'm in a relationship, I'm gonna have your back or whatever you're doing. But
Yeah, like my Sugarfoot per se, she loves cheerleading. Like absolutely loves cheerleading. You know, and I think it's cool. But because she loves it and because she used to be her cheerleader, like
mhm,
I'll ask her about certain things, like were you a flyer or were you the base or were you throwing people in the
right,
air or were you catching them? Like,
show some interest. Like
show
talk
something.
talk to me about it. Just
Yeah, like how come you don't do it anymore? Like, were you ever thinking about doing this, that, or the other thing? Like,
right.
it just shows something. Uh, she she said I hated bowling because I sucked, but I go and still trying to have fun and support my fiance as league nights and practicing. That's what's up. I like that. Um, I feel like
Oh, that's so nice.
that is right. It's cute. Like,
I like that.
you know, I'm not in no bowling league. You know what I'm saying? But,
But you'll go and have fun with that
facts,
person.
facts. And bowling is fun. Like, I think
It could be fun.
like bowling is one of those like it's one of those perfect type of dates, right? Like it's a perfect icebreaker date, you know?
Right. And it could be competitive.
Yes,
You
it
could
can
just
be
have
as super as competitive or less competitive as you want it to be. And it can be like really
mhm.
cute too. Like, it's her turn to bowl. Like you can just,
Right. If
do
I
like
if
little
I make this,
things.
I get a kiss.
Right, right. If I get a strike, I get a kiss or whatever, pat her on the butt while she's
Mhm.
like, throwing the ball
Right.
the ball down the aisle or whatever. It's cute. It's like a perfect icebreaker because you don't necessarily have to talk like the whole time,
Right.
but like it gives you enough time here and there to like high
To
five
have
each
fun.
other. Like, oh my gosh, that was so cool, babe. You did
It's
this.
definitely a fun.
Yay.
It's a fun date
It's amazing.
if you decide to do that on a date. But yeah,
Sugarfoot,
it's a
if you
fun date.
watching, let's go bowling, babe.
She's
Um
watching.
hey,
I see her.
hey, hey, mind your business. Mind your business. Mind your business.
I'm not gonna
Um
say her name.
In what place should a person be when they are looking to date with intent?
Mentally happy. You have to have been happy by yourself
Mm,
before you decide to go. bring somebody else into your world. You have to be happy with yourself and loving yourself so you can potentially love somebody else.
I like that. Um, I think you have to be like, you, it's a multitude of things, a plethora of things that you have to do. You have to be, you have to be consistent. You have to be grounded, physically, emotionally stable,
That's all the things,
spiritually.
right?
Like you
Right.
have to be
Spiritually,
all
I
of
have
that.
that written down.
You have
Spiritually, yep.
you have to be
Hmm.
all of that because like if you're not stable in any of those areas, it's gonna show eventually.
Right.
And um, it's needed to like have a partner who not necessarily is stronger than you in certain areas. But like you know how the man is supposed to lead or whatever, right? That doesn't mean that we know everything about everything. I don't know everything about everything. You know,
Okay.
I am not I'm not ashamed to admit that I don't know everything about everything or don't know how to lead in certain areas of certain aspects of things when it comes to being in a relationship, you know. But what I
Right.
will do is I know how to research things. I know how to look it up. I know how to get the answer. You know what I'm saying? I know how to rectify things. I know how to come back and talk to my partner when I've either upset her or made her feel a certain type of way. I know how to do these things. I know how to lead to a certain extent, but if there's things that my partner knows better than I want her to teach me
Hmm.
those things so I can lead us better, you know?
That's that's awesome that you can do that because some men they can't even do that. They can't even, and some women they can't even. If I've hurt you, you know, I'm allowed to feel that, but can you apologize
Yeah. It's not necessarily it's one thing to apologize, but it's another to go back and fix it. Like
to
if
fix
if
it?
I know that this one
Exactly,
specific thing hurt you, I don't want to do that same thing that hurt you again,
to
you
do
know?
it again,
You know, I don't
right?
want to
And don't
repeat
tell
old
me I'll
things.
never hurt you because
Yeah, no, no, no. I
that's
know
why
I know I'm going to
you never
hurt.
know what's gonna hurt that person.
I know I'm going to
But
hurt somebody because I don't know what it is that hurts them, you know, until a
that's
certain
why you have
situation
to
comes
be
up.
like in that mental place before you date because if you're broken
Mhm.
and you're trying to date, then you break that person.
Yeah.
Hurt people.
Hurt
And
people. Yes.
that's
Yes.
like for the longest time I did not date because I was like, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I have no business talking to anybody
Yeah.
because I'm hurt.
Yeah.
And then all I'm gonna do is just hurt somebody else.
Yeah.
So I didn't date for a long time, and but now just being out there like trying to date, and it's so different,
Yeah.
from coming out of being married 4 years ago. So it's just like this dating now is totally changed.
Yeah.
Like it's not bad. I
Yeah.
mean, it is what you make it, but it's definitely different.
I feel like when you're able to be transparent with your partner or like I feel like one thing about me, I don't mind being vulnerable to the right person.
Right.
I've too often been vulnerable to the wrong people who took advantage of that, and it still presently causes me um, turmoil in myself and my relationships because I feel that even though I'm healed from certain things, like the
Okay.
thought still creeps up that this happened to you in the past. It's kind of like muscle memory. You do things enough times, and like you start to react when it starts to happen again. But like when you get true healing and whatnot, like you are healed from it, yes, but you are
Right.
still
Those things don't
cautious.
bother you.
You are still
Right.
cautious of those things that happen.
You're cautious, but it doesn't bother you as much.
Yeah, let me get into some of these
That
comments.
person, right?
Um,
They don't bother you or things. It's not so negative.
yeah, to know how to fit together and and be ready to enter a three knot rope, man, woman, God, for those who believe in God. That's a good one. I like that. An apology doesn't mean nothing without changed behavior. That's definitely true. I love that. You'll always hear through the ears of brokenness. Yes, that is true. Because again, hurt people, and it's just how hurt people, um, sympathize and empathize with other hurt people because they've been hurt too. You know, so like not everybody that you date who's been through certain situations that you've been in are good to
Right.
date because sometimes people use that against you unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've I've unfortunately done that in my past to where I've dated people who experienced certain hurt the same way that I have, and it didn't work out because I saw certain similarities in the situations that I was going through, and even though I
Mm-hmm.
was empathetic and sympathetic to it, it was it was triggering because they didn't show that same type of understanding,
Right.
even though they were doing the same thing towards me that they were asking me not to do towards them.
Right.
Oh man, trauma bonds is what you're referring to. Yes, that's exactly what I'm referring to. Trauma bonds. Yeah, and that could be for a different episode. Um, does a person's financial stability alone or lack thereof make them ready to date with intent?
It's like the same question, but no.
It's not. It's not.
It doesn't. I mean, the financial stability doesn't make them ready to date, but
Okay, so I'll say it like this:
it's like the same question.
just because you're financially stable doesn't mean that you're
Doesn't mean
ready
you're
to
ready
date.
to date.
And just
Yeah,
because you're
she
not
said that.
financially stable doesn't mean that you're ready
Doesn't
to
mean
date.
right.
Or it
I
doesn't
mean,
mean that you're
but
not ready to date.
it it definitely helps,
It Yes, it definitely helps.
especially if you're trying to like, if you're dating for a purpose.
Yes, because dating
Um,
is expensive, but you don't have to do expensive things to date.
to have to right.
But man, oh man, is it a lot harder. It is a lot harder to date
There's
with
so
intent
many
without
things
being financially
that
stable.
are free to do.
Yes.
You just have to do some
You got to be
research.
resourceful. You got to be willing to think
Right.
outside the box because like picnics aren't necessarily free, but
They're expensive,
they're not very expensive. They're not as expensive
but
as going to
they
like
can be.
they're not as expensive as going to like the Cheesecake Factory or
Right.
like or going to they're definitely not as expensive as going to Roof Chris. Like
Right.
cuz the picnic could be free. Like honestly, you can go through your own cabinets in your kitchen right now and find things
And find what you need in there as long as it's fresh.
exactly.
But yes.
And you didn't spend a dime right then and there for
Right.
that.
I mean, you
You know,
did, but you already
right?
had it
Not
there.
right then and there. No, you already had it on hand. You
Right.
already paid for it. It's good. Um, but like, you can go on
But if you want
walks.
to make it
You
cute,
can
like the,
you
you know,
can find different things.
it could,
Like,
it could get a little expensive.
man, what,
Uh,
what,
not super expensive, but I
what?
mean, it's not free,
Definitely not free.
but it's definitely something that just a beach, a night like walking on the beach, or you just have like some wine or whatever. So
So,
that's
so one thing
bring
that I
everyone
plan on
in.
doing with my Sugarfoot, I don't even know if she's still watching. Let me check. She's still watching. Oh, she is. Uh, uh, one of the things that I planned on
Y'all
doing
are
was
so
like
cute.
writing her a letter, like a
Mm-hmm.
handwritten letter and sending it to her,
Mm-hmm.
because it's one thing to like talk every day, text every day, that's cool. But like taking the time out to like write a handwritten letter and then literally mailing it to her. Oh,
That's so,
like I'm a little hopeless romantic when it comes to stuff like that.
that's so cute.
Yeah.
I'm
Or
sure
like
she'll appreciate
I try to think. I really do try to think outside the box because it's one thing to try and date, but it's another thing to date long distance, right? And then it's another thing to like, do the same thing over and over again. It kind of seems like it's, out of habit necessarily rather than like,
Right.
you
Like
know,
movies. I don't think that's ever
yeah,
a date though.
yeah. Like I could have taken her to see a movie, even when I was
But
in
that's not
Florida.
like
Even when I was in Florida and I
date.
was, actively
You're
taking
hanging
her
out.
on dates, like for me to drive to Jacksonville to Daytona just to go see a movie, that's dumb. I'm sorry, that's dumb. I'm not gonna do that. But like
Right.
now I do other things like because I know that she likes flowers, even though I'm not a fan of buying flowers. I'm gonna buy her flowers,
Cause she
because
likes
she
it.
likes it. It's not about what I like; it's about what she likes. Taking interest in what she likes to do the things that interest her rather than interesting me.
We like those type of things,
Yeah.
especially if you know what flower that we like.
Oh yeah.
Cause not everybody likes red roses. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
like red roses. So like
That's good because those are expensive.
just knowing the flower that she likes and you send that,
I I
in that bouquet of beautiful flowers,
I think I
is
think a
just
person
it's
who
the thought.
I think a person who asks a lot of questions and a person who is observant about things are those two things are like really important in when you're trying to date
Right.
because like it's great to ask questions, awesome, but it's super awesome to
Definitely.
like be able to go back and remember those things or write it down in your notes and then
Be
just
there
one day
remember.
randomly just surprise her with it. Like even if
Right.
you're like 2,400 miles away, you know, like
Oh,
it's shut up. Um, it still shows something great because you're doing something or like just going on virtual dates. Like one of the things that I wanted to do with her was, which I did, was go on a date, a virtual date. We went to the same restaurant. I took my little phone stand,
they were at
and I faced,
restaurants
yeah,
though.
yeah. I
Oh,
She went to a restaurant in Florida. I went to one here, and then I took my little phone stand, put my phone on the stand, and FaceTimed each other the whole time, and it was cool. And then when it was time for the bill, I sent her the money to be able to pay for the check. I mean, stuff like that. Like you just got to think
I had a
outside the
virtual date
box.
before. It was all right.
It's all right,
I mean, it
just all
was
right.
nice.
Like when people say "all right," that's the face that I usually make. Like, all right, that's all right.
It was nice.
Mm. It was nice, or it was all right.
It was nice.
Okay, you're confusing me.
It was nice. It was during the pandemic, so um, he ordered food. It came to my house,
mm,
and like we got dressed up
mm,
and we took pictures and sent them to each other, and we sat down and ate
that's
with
cute.
the phone, obviously,
That's cute.
but
That's cute. Sugarfoot,
it
if you watching, I might have to do that for you one day. That's cute.
and
It's real cute.
yeah, the food came and it was what I like.
Mm.
We had dinner.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I just like to think outside the box. There's not a thing I wouldn't do if I knew it made my Sugarfoot happy and it's realistic. I'd do it. I would.
I think you're rare.
I try to be, but there's people who I'm not saying that every woman doesn't deserve this, but there's women who ask for this stuff to be done for them, or that's their standard for this to be done for them, and a lot of men will like hesitate to do those things because she's requiring them to do it, and it doesn't feel like it's genuine when it's a requirement,
True.
But when like Sugarfoot, she doesn't ask me for anything, like legit, she doesn't ask me for anything. But when she does ask me for stuff, like the other week she asked me for something, I made sure I got it for her. She asked me for two of them, I gave her six.
Oh,
Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's just like, yeah. In the midst of trying this, doing, give yourself
I want to be.
courtesy.
I want to be invited to the wedding.
Hey, relax,
It
relax.
happened on my show.
Hey, relax, because we're not even like boyfriend
I know,
girlfriend.
but it
Yeah,
happened on my
we're
show.
that's my best friend, but she says I'm her
I know.
close friend. But yeah, we're taking it slow, and God willing, we're moving in His grace and His will and His time, and His time is perfect. So if He says it's for us, it's for us. If He says it's not, that's His word, and that's it.
That's cute.
That's it.
I'm gonna find. I'm gonna find. Well, he's gonna find me one day.
That part,
Whoever he is,
because a
he's
man
gonna
who
find
findeth
me.
a wife findeth a good thing. Anyways,
He'll
uh,
find me one day.
we about to close out this show. Whoa, that was loud. I should have turned that down before. My bad. Anyways, I'm gonna get into some announcements. IWWG, or I Walk with God, is an apparel brand seeking to inspire others to trust God no matter the reason and the season, and allowing Him to order their steps. This is a way of life, declaring to keep faith, keep hope, and to keep trusting in God in every phase of your lives. Purchases can be made on their website, www.iwwgco.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram under IWWGCO. Binaural beats and black voices combined and quiet your mind and relax you into your best night's sleep. Settle down and immerse yourself into original and classic stories with a melanated twist. In no time, you'll be sleeping in melanated peace. Girl, good night. New episodes come out Sundays at 7 p.m. Central Time on all major platforms and YouTube. We're on Instagram at girl_goodnight and Facebook Girl Goodnight LLC. You can also provide this link where everything is consolidated. That's https://drum drum.io/girl goodnight. Tune into the next episode where we will be talking about green flags versus red flags. B, the host or guest host of the Black Royalty podcast, do you have any shout outs?
Rebel Book Stars, custom. That's most. That's his t-shirt line. So,
Ooh.
Rebel Book Stars, Black Royalty podcast, and Tommy the Barber. That's 2150 in Orange Park. Yeah, that's my son's barber. He's awesome.
Oh. Yeah, he's a pretty dope
and
barber.
Travel and Brown Eyes. That's my friend Keith. He's a travel agent. So.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to talk offline, B, because yeah.
Shut
up. I like to do my shout outs like I normally do. First and foremost, I like to thank God because without Him, I wouldn't be able to do the thing that I love doing, and that's podcasting. Second, I'd like to thank all the people who stop by and listen to me ramble on this show. I'd like to thank you, B, for coming on my show and being an awesome guest host. I'd like to also thank my haters. I don't know if I have any haters, but I'm just speaking in. And if I do have haters, I appreciate y'all because y'all make me want to go even harder and do and create more and more better content. Who else do I want to thank or shout out? I want to shout out my Sugarfoot. I'm not gonna say what her handle is because that's none of y'all business. But she was on here. Is she still on here?
Beautiful too.
Oh no, she's not on here. So I can do that.
She left.
Yeah, she left. But yeah, I like to thank her for stopping by and encouraging me and inspiring me to want to do better and be better. So yeah, tune in every Saturday, same time, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and this is not subject like right on the dot. Like we black, Like sometimes we're not gonna be right on time, you know. But 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Eastern time on Saturdays, I'll be right here doing what I love best, and that's podcasting and talking my talk, you know? So,
Thanks for having me again.
yeah, you're always welcome to like pop up in here. Pull up on me. I like that little shout out you did. You know which one I'm talking about, too.
Oh, Rebel to Stars. Yep. All right. I'll talk to you
Nah,
later.
yeah, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I appreciate that shout out you did. That's really sweet. That's really sweet. Um, but yeah, the next episode that we'll be doing on here is green flags versus red flags. I hope it's a great show. I wrote it, so of course I hope it's a great show.
That'll
But
be a good one. When are you? You said you're doing that next.
next Saturday, yeah.
Okay.
If you
All
guys
right.
have any like comments, concerns, or suggestions on things that you would like to hear us talk about, please feel free to DM me and let me know what those are so we can make sure we get that up and rolling.
Oh, tomorrow night, Most and I are doing a Q&A section, Q&A session on our podcast. So all of our followers can
I'm still
listen in.
I'm
No
still waiting on
topic.
my merch. I'm still waiting on my merch. Y'all said y'all was gonna send me a t-shirt
Talk to him.
or
Talk to him.
or a
He's got it
mug
all.
or something.
But
You the
yeah.
plug.
So we're doing a Q&A, no subject. So have all your questions ready for us.
All right. Well, I think this chicken is cooked. So we about to get up out of here. I appreciate you again so very very much for being
No
on the show.
problem.
You're always welcome to come back whenever you want to. Just let me know. All right. Until then,
All right.
peace, love, hair grease, and all that good stuff. Y'all be blessed.
Bye.
Peace.